All right, welcome to another episode of the Give Us a Spell podcast. As you can tell, this is the Melbourne podcast, and Nick isn't Japanese, so Kohei is filling in. Kohei is.
I'm not Nick. I'm definitely not Nick.
We wish Nick the best. He had a bit of a knock at training. He's an AFL man, so he had a bit of a knock at the Giants training. He's not feeling the best. So I thought I'd get the guy who's currently in isolation, who's tested positive to COVID, and was able to do form for 2 meetings. How are you, mate? How are you feeling?
I've been better. But last night was gnarly. That was probably. I'm hoping that was the worst of it.
Yeah,
because it was pretty heavy last night. But today my voice is slightly crackly and there's a bit of a light cough going on. But a heap better. And
super like temperature.
Yeah, I had some hectic. Yeah, well, I've been sweating through the whole process of it really, but it ironically. The worst part of it was when I wasn't sweating. So, yeah, just had a hectic temperature that just didn't go down.
Do you have a jumper on?
Yeah, I've got a hoodie on right now.
So you're cold now or something?
No, well, I've got shorts on under here.
Right.
And I've got the window wide open. So it's kind of leveling out the two.
Look, we don't normally talk. We talk, I guess, friendly about Melbourne and stuff. But how often do you do in the Melbourne form? You kind of enjoy it compared to Sydney? Bit different?
It's definitely very different. There's definitely different form lines than Sydney because we're so used to Sydney. We can probably name the whole card tomorrow at Saturday at Rose Hill. But trying to navigate through the different horses that don't come up to Sydney, that's probably the toughest part of it. And before we, I guess, begin, we all wish Nick the very best. And I've got COVID, and by the sound of things, he's far worse off. So good luck to him.
I think it's similar. Like he got a good head knock, which is exactly like he's best friends with Paps, and Paps had the same thing last year. And we know what happened with him. So hopefully it's not as bad as that. And all the best. Now you just got to try and tip more winners than him, mate. Pretty tough week last week. I think he had a pretty tough week last week. It was pretty tough for most people. I think you did okay. I did ordinary, and he actually went to the races at Sydney as well on his birthday and did his ass. I think so. He wasn't too happy. So poor prick. We're doing Flemington. So obviously it's highlighted by the Lightning. It's a really good race, obviously. I saw Joe Pride put a pretty funny tweet out earlier with Eduardo, a picture of it eating grass on a nature strip. So he was it was pretty clever by him. Good areas there. But mate, it's pretty good. So race 1, we were just talking before we started recording, a 2,000 meter race to kick off the day at Flemington shits me. Everyone knows that I don't like anything over 1,400. I get really up and about my sprint races and the short distance. But J-Max down there, J-Max on Crystal Pegasus for Waller, a little bit of coin for it, 460 to 370. Rousseau's there. D. Oliver, Waller again, top 2. Your Tycoon Beck, playoffs, Red Kelly. We talked about Tiger earlier before we hit record. That's 14s into 10. That's been back a little bit, but thoughts for the distance race, mate?
Mate, I'm ditto with you. Starting with a 2,000 meter race around Flemington. God help us all. Where do we start? I guess J-Max the big factor going down, and he's no longer in the Metro. Actually, let me have a quick look. He might be still within the Metro ranks since the Carnival. He is still. He's kind of still lurking in the top 15. He hasn't ridden there since November. So
he did take this last year.
Oh, absolutely. That Flemington Carnival, he was absolutely on fire. And he still has 12 wins and a handful of minors. So yeah. I expect he's going to go well again. We know him very well from Sydney, so I have tipped a couple of horses with him in it. But race 1, market supports, obviously, with the 2 Waller runners, Crystal Pegasus and Rousseau. I think the early favoritism is, I think it is pretty correct. I don't know if I'd be taking the quote of 360 or 350 or whatever it is right now. The distance suits, and, straight off the bat, J-Mac booked the ride is super positive. Last start, won over the trip in Sydney and will be hard to beat again. Rousseau, the other Waller runner, won at the Valley last start and a decent step up in grade. It'll be going from a BM 70 to an 84, which has a little bit of a query for me. It's a decent jump. The gelding made a mess of them last start, though, won by 3 3/4, and will get a 4 kilo swing his way. So that's positive. But the one horse that I really wouldn't mind having a crack at a little bit more of a price is playoffs.
I was about to say.
Went over the distance in the same class last start, so that's a tick in my eyes. I think it only gets penalised 2.5 kilos, which I don't think is that huge, especially on the staying trip.
Yeah,
I don't think they'll be going gun ho, so I don't mind the 2.5 kilo. And as long as the rain stays away from Flemington, it needs to be running on top of the ground. So as long as it is dry, I think it's got a great chance. And at $8,
yeah,
definitely wouldn't mind a couple of dollars on it.
A little bit of a drift too. Speaking of rain, there's fucking thunder happening at your place and mine right now. Pretty fucking loud. I'm gonna have to close my window soon. It's loud as. What do we got? A 1,600 meter race over, obviously 1,600 meter over the fucking mile, of course. Bit of a shorty. Yeah, I know my stuff. Tuvalu, $2 favourite. Did open 210, slight there, got into $1.90, but back out. Gentleman Roy's at 3.30, pretty short, but then we go straight out to double figures to 14s for Zoltan and 3 and 4 pence, high and dry, and so forth. But looks like pretty much a racing two. This Tuvalu, pretty good, I think, isn't it? It had that good win, one of the provincial country racetracks in Melbourne, didn't it?
Yeah, one at Warrnambool, and definitely shows a lot of promise, I think. It also comes out of the same race as Zoltan. Zoltan's heavier in this instance as well. So I'd be definitely scratching that out of the selections. It's running in a benchmark 84 again, which suits. So it's the same grade, steps up in distance, which is the slight query, but the way it won last start, where it just absolutely just start to finish. I mean, it was backed off the map. I think it started at $1.25 or something like that. So it was real short, and it justified it. Won by 3.5. So it is a racing two, like you said. Gentleman Roy is the other horse, which is going to make things pretty interesting for the favourite Tuvalu, because they're both front types. So they'll be likely to lead. And I mean, if there is a genuine speed battle, I mean, I wouldn't want to be backing it.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Well, so Gentleman Roy won at the Valley too, didn't it?
Yes, it did. And I'll start with Tuvalu though. As a 3-year-old, this galloper, it went up against some class horses. It faced I'm Thunderstruck twice, came second to it twice, and subsequently off the back of that, since it's turned 4, it's won both its races by 2 3/4 and 3.5 lengths. So I think it will keep winning, even if it doesn't win this, which I don't think will be the case. I think it will shit in, but it's got genuine upside on this horse. It's only lightly raced with 6 starts. It's only 4 years old. I see a lot of upside to it. And Gentleman Roy, on the other hand, steps up from benchmark 70 to 84. So decent jump. Last start was an easy watch where it won by 2 lengths, and it will be 6 kilos lighter with the claim from Josh Richards. So I can genuinely see why the market's kind of shortened up on it. I guess if you were to play, I think Tuvalu would win, but I mean, the Quinella wouldn't be a bad play. I think it'll be a racing two. And I think I look at the midfield back markers from without doing speed maps, because, we don't get speed maps for the old Melbourne, but I genuinely think that these guys will just shoot away at the turn and nothing will come close to catching them. So racing two, but Tuvalu for mine.
Most people are going to see J-Mac and Chris Waller on a $15 horse and go, oh my God, what the fuck? And Jamie Carr on a 71. But geez, you don't often see that. It's pretty rare. Race 3 is over the mile as well. So Yonchi is 270, 340. It did open yesterday. American Angel, Jamie Carr and O'Brien's for 60. We go out to 7 for Groovy Kind of Love. We got Sentimental, Josh Richards claiming 2 for Waller. We're out to double figures with Modern Millie, White Hibiscus, Divine, Diosa and stuff as well. But this favourite goes all right, for Kieran Maher. Or is it 3 on the trot, I think? 1 at Caulfield last start?
3 on the trot, and tricky race. I think it is unders, this Yonce or Yonce or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
The mare's won all its starts and, sits 3 from 3. Great record, obviously. Last start, it timed its run to perfection and won in the shadows of the post. This time around, it will be carrying the same weight at 59, which is fine. But the sticky barrier has me very worried, and I'm kind of almost lay it, not pot it, but I'll lay it and look elsewhere. American and Angel won over the class and distance last start in impressive fashion. Jamie Carr sticks, and the better draw should see it settling midfield, hopefully with cover. Definitely should be with cover, but fingers crossed. And the price is far more approachable at what, 460, I think you said.
460, yeah.
And the third elect, Groovy Kind of Love. I mean, you could definitely make a case for it, but I'd probably put a pen through its last run. Was way too back and covered a lot of ground in the closing stages. It steps up to its kind of ideal distance. All three career wins has been is it second up? No, over this distance. And then its second up record is 3 starts, 2 wins and a placing. So definitely the market's reacted probably correctly. Yeah. But I'm happy to take on the favourite and back the second elect American Angel.
And once again, J-Mac on a double figure horse, Modern Millie. Fuck, he's going to land at least one of these higher paying ones.
Surely.
Tough race 4, we said it before. Fucking hell, 550 the field. We got Waltz On by equal favourites with I'm Loving Ya. That's for Mick Price, that one. We got Zenzanella, sevens. We got Kiko at 750, Miss Hellfire, Racamolo, Stupendo. I have absolutely no idea. So have you got anything for me?
I'm in a similar spot.
It's tough. Like, yeah.
I literally had to watch the replay for most of these runners and be like, was that good enough? I don't actually know. Like, and would it surprise me if, you know, a $20 pop won this? Not at all. Like, I genuinely think, put it this way, nothing from this race, I don't think will go towards the slipper. They're not good enough, I think, in my eyes. So this makes it even more wide open. There's not like an outright favourite and just a shit horse in the mix. I think it's just a perfectly even shit story. Couple of notes though. Three of the last winners of this race in particular, naming them Ingratiating, Ole Kirk, and Microphone. So
decent.
They've gone on to do great things. Ole Kirk and Microphone obviously won Group 1s, and Ingratiating still racing and has placed in 3 Group 1s now. So winner of this race is historically, as of late, it actually produces decent horses. So right. I'll be interested to see where it goes. As for the runners in it, fuck me. Let's touch on a couple of them. Kiko ran in the Chairman's last start. It was ridden for luck out the back. It closed off well, and the extra 100 will be better. It definitely, I mean, from the eye, it definitely looks like it had the quickest last 200. So definitely keep an eye out on it late. And it being a 2-year-old 1,100 metre race, I'm assuming they're going to go gun-ho from the barriers. So it could swoop. Waltz On by the favourite. Came forth in the Blue Diamond preview for the fillies and was unlucky not to be closer to first. If you watch the replay from the jump to about the 600, it's trapped 3 wide, and then it tries to make a move about 400 out, and I think it just wastes a little bit too much energy in that kind of transition as well. And more or less, I wouldn't put a pen through it. I think it was a good enough run. Second up, it will probably have definite improvements. Jamie Carr jumps on board.
He does, yeah.
Everything I think is a bit of a tick, so I can justify favoritism. I'm Loving Ya, also ran in the same race as Waltz On By, was behind her by about a length or so, came from last to cover a lot of ground, step up also suits. So that form line's quite strong, I guess. And then the real question mark of question marks is this J-Mac Lloyd Kennelwell galloper carrying the same colours as Cool and Gatta, who'll be going to the Golden Slipper. It's got no public trials. It's $7, so it's well found in the market. I'll tell you what, if it firms even more, I mean, I'd say just keep an eye out for it, because I genuinely think there could be a flooding of money with J-Mac on board.
Yeah.
Little to no confidence, but I'm happy to stick with the favourite at Waltz On By. But yeah, no confidence.
All right, Tab Vanity, race 5, 1,400 metres. Socialist, barrier 8, Jamie Carr, Kieran Ma, $5 into 4s. We've got Barb Raider at 420. Did open 550, so a bit of coin. Cardigan Queen, barrier 6, another one for Kieran Ma. It's at 5s. We've got Ryoki. It's been backed, 850 today in the 650. We've got Manouche for Godolphin, 12s and 850, and we're going out pretty high. Throntari, that Damien Thornton's aboard, 17 into 12. So a little bit of it. How far does Socialist win this?
It's a good question because I genuinely thought that the Waller Galloper that's now been scratched, which had J-Mac on board, was half a chance. I'm guessing it's elected to race in the later race without me checking. But Socialist, it's definitely the most like progressive type. It came third in the Magic Millions Guineas behind King of Sparta. Understandably, it was by 2 3/4, but it ran on the rail, which was not the preferred ground. Everyone flew wide in that race, and subsequently the later races as well. Understandably, with Jamie Carr on board, it's a big tick. Like, slight query where it settles in the run from the wider draw, but it's just definitely the class caliper. Barb Raider, I did like it, but at the same time, I think it is a class horse, but I think it needs a longer trip and just needs this run under the belt. So I'll be looking out for it over the mile. One that I don't mind and want to make a case for is Throntari.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a decent each way quote. Probably rock hard fit. Just touch back, was fourth behind Rio Yuki, which is also well placed in the market. It's had money on. In that instance where it came fourth, Rio Yuki won, but genuinely had the cruisiest run you've ever seen. Like, you could have seen it run from the 600 and go, that thing's like, it had the best race in transit, just sat off leaders back and then just found the perfect gap along the fence and just went bang. As for Throntari, though, it was trapped wide for the first 400, exerted unnecessary energy. It got to the line really well. And, yeah, I just genuinely think that it could be an each way chance. But, yeah, saying all that, I mean, Socialist, I think.
Yeah.
The class act. I think, I don't know if it'll win convincingly enough for me, but I think just the form line in itself is enough for me to just say this thing's rock hard fit and it's going to try and win this black type race.
I like it. I think it's a good bet. I think Socialist is good. You mentioned Fine Point. That goes around in Sydney. So it's going around in the last. It's 13s and Tommy gets the ride. So it's gone it's in Sydney. All right, race 6, CSA's 1,400 metres. Pinstripe just there as the fave. Mickey D, can't pronounce a trainer. Can't remember that. It's 350 to 330. We've got Captivant there, J-Mac and the Snowdens. They've gone barrier 10. Brutal. They're 550. Lightsaber going around again. Backed a little bit. 9s into 650. Pasiro's there at 650. Forgot you. Little bit of coin. Zara's aboard. 13s into 10s. Then we go out to our bigger odds. I guess a random one is Galleon. That's for Brett Preble. He's riding it. It's 41s into 18. That could be very little money really making that move. But who are you with, mate? Who do you like?
Well, let's start with the favourite. Money keeps coming for this horse. And I've watched its replays. It was impressive, but I can't back it. I just can't back it. 330. And I wouldn't say it's a bad field. I think there's a bit of class about this field. It's so unearthed, this horse. It's probably the best way I can explain it. Comes off a nice Mooney Valley race over 1,200, wins by half a length. Its rating was only 63 going into that. So, that's a lot of weight of money going into this race. And yeah, it's not for mine. I'll be looking at something like Lightsaber. Comes off a quick turnaround in the CF4 last weekend, a Group 1. It was disappointing, but the race was won from the front. If you watch the replay again, pretty much the first 6 that settle in the run come exactly in that position over the finish line. So it did come second last, but the quick turnaround means it's rock hard fit. I love that. It comes back into its own, age group. I think it's just tick, tick, tick for mine. With a nice draw, it would probably go forward and be a bit more positive. I think that's kind of the key to this horse. If it runs anything like it's run in the Caulfield Guineas Prelude, it should be a good sight. I guess I'll touch on Captivant very briefly. It's a horse that I really can't catch, but this seems like the right class to be in. Obviously a decent enough animal because it's been in a heap of stakes grade and even Group 1s, but and it's weighted well. It's 3.5 kilos different from top to bottom. So it might find some winning ways with J-Mac on board. I don't know, but if I were to have a bet, it's definitely Lightsaber.
Right, Lightsaber. Race 7, main race of the day, the big exciting one. Nature Strip is going around. Jay Carr is aboard this time. It's at 260. We've got Eduardo, Nash, and Joe Pride. A little bit of drift. It opened 390. It's now 420. Home Affairs on the drift as well, 5 to 650. The good money, I guess. Profiteer did open 16s. It's already 8, which is a solid go. Mask Crusaders are at 850. We know what Mask Crusader can do. Flew home in the Everest. We got G-Tra. We know his form. It's pretty good bloody horse. Inferno Astrologist spots that. You with Nature Strip?
I am with Nature Strip, but I mean, you could definitely make a case for like half the field here. Like, I mean, Eduardo, multiple Group 1 winner, perfect. Mask Crusader, I think it might be too sharp for it, 1,000 meters. It's coming down now. It's hectic out there. Mask Crusader, yeah, I don't know about 1,000 meters, so I'll probably wait until next up. Geitra is one that surprisingly could make itself known in this race. It's track and distance 2 from 2. Distance over the 1,000, it's 8 starts, 7 wins in a second. It's surprisingly really, really strong over the short course. Home Affairs, I mean, that Coolmore start in the spring where J-Mac just over his shoulder for about what seemed like 10 seconds. And the fact that it's going towards Royal Ascot in the kind of after the autumn, I mean, I imagine it's going to have a huge campaign. And the fact that J-Mac's on this opposed to Nature Strip is a case to be made. But yeah, I mean, I just look every which way and I just keep landing at Nature Strip. I know it's a 260 or whatever favourite now. I think it's a great price, 260. Usually, I mean, I think this time last year ran in this at the $1.40 or something, $1.45. It was a far weaker field. I get that. And 6 Everest runners come into this race first up. So
Mini Everest.
It's definitely a fast, stronger race than last year's. But saying that, I think, like Jamie Carr did it last year down the straight in the Lightning on board this guy. And I just don't know. I just think that it's just going to have another massive campaign. It's probably going to go to the TJ, obviously, probably win that for the 4th straight year.
Yeah.
My goodness. Like, I mean, I think 260 is a great price and I just can't look any which way.
260 for Nature Strip. Hailing at Kohei's house. Absolute thunder, rain, fucking lightning, you name it here. So I'm probably about to cop it. Hopefully we don't get a blackout. That won't be ideal. That's race 7. So then we go to the 3rd leg of the quaddie at Flemington. And what do we got? We got a 1,400 meter race. This is corner pocket. So $4. Little bit. It's come in just a touch out from barrier 1. Mr. Brightside going around. It's Drew barrier 10. Williams aboard for the Hayes. That's 420. We got Elephant 8 to 750. We've got Embolism. Little bit of coin for it. John McNeil's aboard. Cherry Tortoni. We've been on that bloody horse a few times. That's 10s. Groundswell, Grand Slam, King Magnus, Juniper. Bloody good race again, mate.
It's not a bad one, this one. Real level pegged, I think. Let's start with corner pocket. Current favourite, looking to win 8 in a row, something obscene like that. It's amazing. It comes into this listed race off the back of a benchmark 90 win back in August, so it's had a real long spell. I'll be curious where they're planning to take this horse over the autumn. Wouldn't know what its exact plan is, but it'll get a chance from a perfect gate, drops 4 kilos, 1,400 metres Zeus. I guess the only query is the first up into a stakes race. It's definitely the toughest field and race that it's contested in. So little query. As for the price, it's probably about right. I mean, it was always going to get smashed in, I think. Cherry Tortoni, personal favourite of mine. I just love this horse. I don't know why. I've only wanted it probably a handful of times. So I keep sticking with it, but it comes back fresh into a 1,400. It's got a decent enough first up record. And in the past, it's been against classier types first up anyway. So the field shouldn't be an issue. The one that I really want to make a case for is Elephant. There was such great hype with this horse during the spring, and towards the end of its campaign, it was a little bit lackluster, but I just think that looking at his first up record, where it's 3 from 3, there's no public trials listed for it, but I'm pretty confident that it's probably held its form and it's probably come back a bigger horse. And yeah, 1400 meter definitely suits perfectly. It'll slowly work towards the mole, I think, towards the carnival anyway, but a definite chance. And the price is just what I can't really believe. So I'm definitely on board the elephant train here.
750 elephants, good price. We go to the last, and the Garden is fave. Coming off a last start run at Caulfield, came second to Melbourne Storm. Good name. 260, we got Rose Quartz at 480. Coming a touch, we got Pioneer River at 5s. Then we got already double figures with Lancaster Bomber, Can't Be Done, Not to Be Missed, the Big Easy, even going around there. So how's it ending, mate?
Tough race. I think the Garden's unders. I definitely think that's a bit too short. I think I can make more of a case with Rose Quartz. Is that
yeah, Rose Quartz, yeah.
Rose Quartz. It ran in the same race last start as it. Came third, but it was really hampered at a crucial stage of the straight. About the 200 meter mark where the run closed up in between him, and I reckon it would have, I don't know if it would have won the race, but it would have been closer. So I could probably make more of a case for Rose Quartz at a better price than the Garden. But as for it, I mean, there are a couple of others, Lancaster Bomber, Willow Steers, Richard Litt doesn't send too many horses anywhere. And
true.
I guess we'll wait and see on race day, but the market hasn't been backed. It'll be third up into this prep, so it should be rock hard fit. And looking at the class of the race, it has faced harder, and it might map well for him. I think it'll be I'm hoping 3 back, 1 out is kind of how I see in the running line. And there might be a little bit of early speed, obviously being a 1200. So it might have a bit of a say late in the piece, but I want to be on Pioneer River, who won over the course and trip 2 starts back. Holds a great overall record at Flemington. The barrier is a little bit sticky, and that's probably the only query I have. But I think just the fact that it has Josh Richards claiming, and the differential between Rose Quartz, who I'd have as my second elect, is only 3 kilos, and it's a genuine benchmark 84 horse. That's enough for me to take the $5 opposed to the favourite in, $270 or whatever the price is. So yeah, $5 seems more ideal for mine.
Good couple of wins at Flemington 2 starts ago. So that's the whole card, mate. Have you got a best? Anything you really like?
I really genuinely like Lightsaber. I wouldn't be really multing up anything in this. It's actually a really tricky card. I think it's a really, really nice program. Definitely avoiding the 2-year-olds. I think Tuvalu is a good thing, but it's quite short. So I'm going to just kind of opt for a little bit more price and just ignore Pinstriped and the early backing for it, and just hope that Lightsaber does it for us for the win.
Beautiful. All right. Sweet as. All right, that's Flemington. Fingers crossed, mate. And hopefully you can do a bit better than Nick. He won't be happy if that's the case. Might have to get you. Nick was actually going to be doing a race call for me today. Anyone knows him or watched his content, he does a lot of fucking not phantom race calls. He does a lot of covers. He was going to do the 2013 Lightning. I was going to try and make you do it, mate. You've been known to call a few trials on your time.
Yeah, I'm definitely got no thank you. Unless the start of the call to the end of the call is just me saying black caviar.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, black caviar, the old caviar, the go of old. All right, thank you. Enjoy. Hopefully you feel a bit better, mate, with COVID and shit. But let's get some winners.
Let's get some winners.